If you're not training, you're not gaining. So it gets as simple as that. We want to continue with the sports metaphor. There's no way that any sport and any coach where the players would be going to the coach, hey coach, when are we going to train? When are we going to practice? There's no way that a coach is turning to him and telling him, well, look, the ABC team's coming in tomorrow in a game with us. We'll practice on them. Practice inside to get better outside. And it's the responsibility of the sales manager to see that that happens. And so I want to talk to you about some things that we can do to get our people better prepared. Remember that sales manager's job. It's not to grow sales, it's to grow salespeople in quantity and quality. And now that we've got them properly oriented and we recruited the best people out there, now we're going to take their game up. So, 3 types of calls that we should be making in the field with our salespeople. 3 distinctly different types of calls, each with their respective benefits to the salesperson. If I find any sales managers out in the field making calls with their salespeople, tends to be joint calls. And I'm all for it. And so a joint call. I got Daniel. He's my salesperson. I'm his sales manager. And I say to Daniel, hey, Daniel, pick a day next week and let's go out and do joint calls together. Remember what that is now. That's where you and I equally participate in the call. You know, it's one of those situations where you're the salesperson, you got that eye contact, and you're asking the questions. I'm taking notes, and then I pick up on something that you didn't hear. And so then I interject, and all of a sudden I've got the eye contact, and you're taking the notes. And we're hamming and egging all the way through the process. And by the way, this 2-on-1 type of situation, not only is it a great learning opportunity, but it's a great selling opportunity. And so getting out there with your salespeople in the field and doing joint calls, you're going to see an increase in sales just because of your presence out there. I encourage sales managers to get out of their office and get out from behind their desk and get out there where the action is. That's the biggest area where you're going to make a difference. Well, at the end of the call, you debrief. Hey, how did you think it went in there? What did you think went well? What did you think didn't go so well? When you said this, why did you say it? And most importantly, what do we need to do going forward to win over that account? Great call. But often overlooked is the training call. And so here's the training call. I'm the sales manager. Daniel is my salesperson. I ring him up and say, pick a day next week. We'll go out in the field and we'll make some training calls together. Remember what that is. That's where I, the sales manager, am making the calls. And Daniel, the salesperson, is silent. And I'm not telling Daniel, hey, I'm the best. I'm not telling Daniel I want to do it exactly as I'm doing. All I want Daniel to see is another guy in action. And at the end of every call, we debrief. Hey, Daniel, what do you do different than I just did in there? What did you like? What did you not like? What did you not understand? When I said this, why do you think I said that? And what do we need to do going forward to win over the account? Another good call, but there's another one. My favorite. If I could only pick one of these 3, I would pick the coaching call. And I think I'm prone to picking that as my favorite because very few of the sales managers that I run into have the courage to do it. And those that actually take it on don't do it correctly. So let's go through it. Hey, Daniel, pick a day next week. Let's go out and do coaching calls. And remember what that is. That's where I, the sales manager, am going to be silent while you, Daniel, the salesperson, are doing the call. And if you're a sales manager watching this course right now, I'm going to tell you what you already know. And that is this. It is hard. It's hard on coaching day. Daniel's in front of an ideal prospect. And guess what? I don't think the call could be gone any better. 40% through the call, and the prospect's waving flags and saying, I'm in. I'll sign whatever you want me to sign. Let's go. And Daniel sees the flags and says to himself, look at this call. He's ready to go. And I'm only 40% through, and I'm going to give him the full Monty. And my leg isn't long enough to kick him and say, would you shut up and close the deal? That is really, really hard. But it gets harder. How about we're out on coaching day and Daniel is in front of an unbelievably great prospect, but right out of the chute, he's blowing it. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. I, the sales manager, will not take over that call. And I pause there because so many sales managers disagree with me. And they say, well, if it was a good prospect like that, I'd take over the call in that case. And all you're telling me is you really don't know what your job is. A sales manager's job is not to grow sales. It's to grow sales people. And if I come in and white knight the account and save the day, well, what is Daniel going to do when I'm not there tomorrow to white knight it? And the day after and the day after. And by the way, I wasn't out there for the last couple of weeks with Daniel. I'm willing to lose an opportunity with one customer to build a better salesperson. Now, the piece that's done poorly by an awful lot of people in the coaching area is breaking this rule. No debrief at the end of a coaching call. We debriefed at the end of each of the joint calls. We debriefed at the end of each training call. But on coaching day, what I say to Daniel is this. Hey, Daniel, we're going to go out and we're going to make 4 calls. Don't ask me at the end of every call how you did. We'll debrief at the end of the 4 calls. You see, if I debrief at the end of the first call, well, what is Daniel going to do? He's going to change his behavior. He's going to adjust. And then I debrief at the end of the second call. And you know what? On the third call, Daniel is a basket case. What you want to know is, what is Daniel like when I'm not there? And that is really the key. Now, joint training coaching. I think you should, as a sales manager, be doing all of those. And let me give you the minimum standard of performance here. 4 hours a month per salesperson is the minimum bar. Let's translate that. If you had 10 salespeople that you had responsibility for, 4 hours each in the field with them monthly, that just translated to 40 hours a month of your time as a sales manager. And my bet is you're not doing that.